Rebecca's going to be a little late, so I'm filling in for her. Is there any public input?
Question.
Can you say your name?
Sure. Jim Deacon,
Do you want the mic?
excuse me.
Do you want the mic?
I think I can talk about that. I was wondering how much residual funding was left from the 24-25 budget.
So, we're going to talk about that more when we talk about the budget, but she just said that the numbers are available. Yeah, because it,
Excuse me? I didn't.
sorry, we're going to talk about that more when we get to the budget in the agenda.
So I'll get my answer then.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming there was some money left over.
The books haven't closed for that time period yet, so we don't have that answer. They're still processing.
Generally, this puts a bill over 2 months, correct?
The fiscal year ends on June 30th, so it hasn't been 2 months yet.
It ends when?
June 30th. So it hasn't been 2 months yet.
Typically, how long does it take to have those numbers?
We typically shoot for September 1st to have the final numbers.
September 1st.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, so I'll just ask my next question, not knowing whether there's anything left or not. I'm assuming that there is. So I heard rumor and Green Window that some sort of propaganda video went out to a select group of taxpayers claiming that the school was in a budget crisis and the sky was going to fall down and all this stuff if the budget review bill did. Maybe you could enlighten me on the video.
So we've already talked about this extensively at previous meetings, so I would encourage you to read those minutes to find our responses to
Well,
that.
at this meeting, so I just wanted to answer.
Well, perhaps towards the end of the meeting, you can ask them again to like the chair to speak to that.
Well, was there a video sent out?
I'd like the chairman to speak to that.
Where is the chair?
She'll be here when she gets out of work as soon as possible.
Oh, one other question. How much does the school board get paid? School board members?
The school board receives a small stipend, but the SAU said that if you email them, then they can get it.
Excuse me?
It's hard to hear with the blowers on.
There is a stipend paid to school board members, and if you'd like that information, you can email the SAU office, and they can send that to you.
So I can't just ask at a meeting and get an answer?
That's not all the information that we have with us today. And this is for public input, not for questions like that. So if you'd like that information, that's just email the SAU office, and they can provide that to you.
You're sitting right there, you can't tell me how much they get paid?
They do not have all of that information with them. If you like, they email them and they can provide that to you.
Is there an agenda review? Is there any other public input? Look at the acceptance of minutes.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from June 11th meeting as is.
All in favor? Superintendent?
Thank you very much. So to begin the superintendent's report, I would like to turn it over to our new Principal Ivy Leavitt Carlson. Ivy will give an update about her summer and updates regarding Middleton Elementary School, and then I'll move down to my report.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hello, everybody. So this has been a pretty busy summer for Middleton Elementary School. First and foremost, I've had a chance to meet with many stakeholders in the town, some families, many staff members, and I want to say thank you to everybody for the warm welcome and for the positivity that you have brought. I've also had a chance to meet with the police and fire, and we've been working together to take a look at some of our safety procedures. We've also been spending time revising the family handbook, and we should be able to get that out to families soon. You'll notice if you look through our halls that our custodial staff has been busy waxing and brightening our classrooms for the first day of school, and we're really excited about that. And I would be remiss if I did not offer a thank you to our staff who worked our ESY program this year to help students receive the services that they need. Things went really smoothly, and we were so thankful for a great summer program. I also wanted to invite everybody. We had a meet and greet on August 28th at 3 p.m. For families and students to be able to meet this year's classroom teacher as well as other staff. And our open house on September 25th at 5:30. And I'm working with our PTA to hopefully be able to provide a little something extra at that event, so stay tuned for some details. That's what I have. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board for the principal at this time? Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is water testing. We do have a special guest who Ivy will bring up on a virtual meeting, but I'll introduce this item. We found that the levels in the water at Middleton Elementary were reaching a dangerous level. It didn't exceed the maximum allowed for the federal requirements, but it did exceed the New Hampshire requirements for arsenic. There's much more to learn. I'm not going to speak for the expert. But as a precaution, we brought in some water bubblers for the summer while we're working on this. So there are bubblers out there right next to the water fountains. Michael Hopley Pierce is going to speak to us. He's going to participate virtually. He's from Second Wind Water Systems. And Second Wind Water Systems is the organization who works with many schools, many school districts in the state to do testing, to analyze the testing, and to make proposals on how to mitigate if there's anything that comes up in the water testing. It's very complex, so without further ado, I would like, if it's ready, 2 minutes. So he is Getting it set up. We're going to turn off the doors for better sound. So Michael is going to join us on Google Meet, and this laptop is connected in our sound system. So not this one, that one. So hopefully everyone can hear Michael on the laptop. And the board, I'll pass this over if you have questions for him. So get him set up in 1 minute. He provided some information to us. He provided a proposal to us. I think there are a couple options, so he can cover that with us. And we can also share with the board funding options, depending on what you'd like to do tonight, or have further discussion. Hopefully it doesn't get too warm in here, but I feel like it's okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm going to turn you around. I'm going to turn you around so you can see our school board.
Hello, Ivy. Pleasure to meet you, Michael. Obviously. I'm going to turn this up so I can hear it better. Great. Thank you for taking the time.
Hi, Michael. This is Caroline Erkelian. I'm the superintendent. Nice to, I think we've met at other districts. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for letting me do this virtually. It made my life a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, perfect. So I'm hoping that you could, you're here with the Middleton School Board, and we have some public with us as well. If you could share some of the findings that you have brought to, for Middleton Elementary water, and then your process, a little bit of the testing. It's kind of a complex process with all the different phases. And then I know you provided us with an option or two of what the school board could do.
Indeed, I'd love to put some context on that. I'm going to try not to go too far down the scientific rabbit hole, but I have to go a little bit down it, and I'm going to take you with me very gently if you'll allow me to, because it'll make a lot more sense if I can. So currently your treatment system as it exists is what we call an ion conditioner. It's sort of a water softener, but sort of not. I'll get into that in a minute. And it's followed by a much bigger tank, which is called a neutralizer. And that contains little pieces of marble, calcium carbonate. And when that dissolves as the water goes through it, it makes the water less acidic and less corrosive. So to take a step back, look at that first piece of equipment. It's what we call mixed bed. So a lot of what happens through ion exchange, which is like a softener, happens because it's either a positive or a negative charge. Generally speaking, it's not a great idea to try to mix those two medias together and have them do their job together at the same time, because they don't work the same way, and it just generally doesn't get very effective results. But that's the tank that you folks have currently. It's got 4 cubic feet of media. One of them is anion, which is the kind that pulls out uranium, arsenic, and the other side is cation, which is softer media, and it pulls out hardness and iron and manganese. And they both regenerate with a salt brine. We don't have to talk about why, but they work sort of in the same way mechanically, but chemically they don't work together very well, which is why we don't really install a system like this and have it for probably 20 years. We used to, it just didn't make sense, and we phased it out. So it's doing a couple of things. It's pulling the hardness and the iron out, and you don't have a ton of either, little bit, but those are not health contaminants, and generally speaking, you don't have any infrastructure issues with heating elements, so I don't know that we really need to worry too much about that. there's two kinds of arsenic. If you remember back to chemistry class, valences, there's 3 and 5. And 3 is problematic. It's almost every technology we try to approach it with, it resists. 5 is very amenable and allows us to remove it fairly easily. You guys have a balance of about half and half, but that shifts from moment to moment with water quality. The system you have now is an anion conditioner, pulls out all of the 5, but none of the 3. Just by design, that's the way it works. So I propose a treatment proposal that's got a couple of pieces, and we can kind of a la carte it, but I think you should look at it holistically. The first thing is to take that anion, cation, mixed bed conditioner, pardon me, remove the media that's currently in it that's been there for a while and it's not doing what it's supposed to, and put all anion media in there. And that will give you much more ability to pull out all of that arsenic 5 versus just having a very small amount of media to do that in a big tank. I would recommend also including an element to oxidize the arsenic 3 into 5, which is fairly straightforward. We do it with what's called a chemical feed pump. It's a very small, about lunchbox size peristaltic pump. Can never lose its prime. It's very predictable. We dial it in. It injects into an injection point in the pipe and puts a little bit of chlorine in the water, and that chlorine is taken up by the arsenic, and it turns the arsenic from arsenic 3 to arsenic 5, which makes it much easier to remove it with that anion conditioner, because it only wants to remove 5. So I'm going to take a break here because I'm a very fast talker, and I know I'm not talking to a bunch of water treatment people, so I want to see if there's any questions in the room before I go any further.
Yes.
Good evening, Heather Kremen here. So I'm trying to catch up. This additional pump for converting, what are we looking at in terms of, maintenance? What is involved for installation, all that kind of stuff?
Pardon me. So it's what's called a peristaltic pump. So most pumps people think about have a diaphragm and a stroke, and it goes in and out like a piston in an engine. This is more like a triangle inside of a circle, and the triangle turns and squeezes the tube that's in between the triangle and the circle. It's almost like grabbing the toothpaste tube from the bottom and squeezing the toothpaste up through it. It pulls solution from a reservoir in that way and injects it into an injection point. So even if it hits a bubble, it keeps doing its thing. They're very low maintenance. I believe the PM, which we recommend here, is in the $500 to $600 range for that peristaltic pump. So you would want to do that once a year, or you'd want to train one of your facilities folks to learn how to do that PM, and we can help you with that too. They're very predictable. I've got them in dozens of schools.
And you talked about converting the ionic conditioner to being, was it anion only? Did I understand that correctly?
Sorry, there's a lot of echo on what you just said. I couldn't.
You were talking about the ionic conditioner and turning that into, from a mixed bed to the anion only? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's
From a
involved?
mixed bed to anion, correct.
What's involved with that process?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What's involved with that process?
I apologize. I'm still having a hard time making one. I think there's an echo in your room on speaker or something.
Can you hear me if I talk into the?
Yes, that's super clear. Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. She wants to know what is involved in the process.
It's very straightforward. For a tank that small, we actually can do the extraction ourselves. So we come in with a really small vacuum unit. We spin the head, the top off of the tank. We pull the old stuff out. We put in a funnel. We put new stuff in. We run it through its cycles, make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do, test the pre-water quality and the post-water quality, make sure it's doing its job, and then it's off and running. And the nice thing is that we'll only have to regenerate probably every 30 days. So your salt usage is going to go way down. Your discharge into your septic of salt solution is going to go way down, whereas right now, you're probably, with mostly cation media in there, probably regenerating every 3 or 4 days. We would cut that by an order of magnitude to like probably every 30 days. This anion doesn't really need to regenerate very frequently.
So if we
So that's
where they're supposed to be?
We should. The big challenge we have with your site is that you've got a high pH. So normally that's a good thing, that your water is not acidic, it's not corrosive, but almost all of the media that wants to remove arsenic does not really like high pH. I'm actually dealing with 4 different schools that have almost your exact same scenario this month, where we have high pH and arsenic, and we're trying to find a smart way to do it. You have a lot more options because we can go to drain, which means we can use this regenerative ion exchange, cation technology, which is really kind of the best way to do this. I can't guarantee the efficacy of this based on the fact that your pH is so high, because the people that make the media that I'm employing in this job, their charts don't go that far. So it should work for 10 years. We've got sites where it's worked for 10 plus years before we have to revent the media, and that's a 4 cubic. It's going to be essentially the same cost you're looking at now, $5,700 plus inflation in 10 years. But you shouldn't have to do anything other than the yearly EMs that you should be doing on this unit anyway, that I think you're doing with us. Other than that, it would be a one-time cost incurrence, and it should be fine. We haven't seen media breaking down currently by virtue of your water chemistry. I just have to throw that out there to be really transparent. So, and when I have the other part, there's a little bit more here. I just wanted to kind of catch my breath and let everyone catch up if I've gone too far into nerdville. Okay, so the last piece, excuse me again, the last piece on this would be sort of a belt and suspenders approach. Sorry, I'm slipping here. This would be fully redundancy to include an adsorber, and that's the big cost item on this proposal is the 18,000 and change. So essentially an adsorber is a piece of technology that will pull out arsenic-3 and it will pull out arsenic-5. It doesn't care. The 3 takes up more capacity, but it will pull them both out. The thing is, it's not regenerative. So it has a fixed capacity of how much it can pull out, and once it hits that capacity, it starts to go right on through to what we call bleed through. But once again, because of the pH of your water, I cannot get a projection from the media manufacturer on how long it would last. Based on normal pH, it should last at least 10 years. But I couldn't put that in print and promise that that would happen because there's just too many variables involved, and I really hate to be vague as an empiricist, but that's kind of where we are based on what we have in the water. So my recommendation would be revent the fixed vent conditioner to an anion and include the oxidation step, 100%. That will take care of, theoretically, all of yours. If you wanted to follow that with the adsorber, that would be something that, especially if it was following a piece of technology that was successfully pulling out most of the arsenic, it could last 20 years. It could just be there, just as sort of like the hooks. We got a little something came through, thankfully the belt suspenders grabbed it, nobody's pants fell down, we're safe. That's sort of the approach of that adsorber, but that's obviously the biggest ticket item on the proposal. So once again, I really want to help you solve problems. I understand budgets. I serve on several not-for-profit boards. I ran a business. I understand where you folks are trying to make a decision. And I really just want to help you guide you through it. If you're thinking it's going to be a shortfall and you want to do something now and ponder things later, forget about the answer. Just do the revent and the oxidation, and I think that would put you at 10, less than 16. And if you want to do that, and then we can track efficacy for 6 months and say, oh, all right, well, it's working great. We were hoping it would work. Or, gosh, it's not quite doing what we're hoping. Maybe we want to add the redundancy step, and we can revisit the answer of these. I'm not sure.
Thank you very much. We're just experiencing a housing rainstorm. I hope it's passing, but just to add to our water conversation, it's a little ironic. Any other questions from the board? As we're talking about options, we were looking at these proposals, so there are a few options here at a few different price points. Middleton has a building and maintenance trust. We currently have a building and maintenance trust. The balance is $264,000. Okay? The process for expending from the trust is that you would have to have a public hearing. What's good about that is that you don't have to make decisions tonight. We would have to schedule a public hearing in order for you to allow us to expend from the trust. And we would have to notice that, I think it's 7 to 10 days, make sure that, that was noticed accurately. And then at that meeting, we would have another discussion about these options. So we could even invite Michael again, because I don't know who else could explain all of that as well. And, we could review the options. And then at that time, during the public hearing, you could talk about whether or not you'd like to make a motion to expend from the Building and Maintenance Trust. So whether that was $5,000 or $10,000 or $24,000, I think there were 3 different price points there. But that would be another opportunity for you to ask questions, for the public to ask questions, and to make a decision about that. And I believe so. We wouldn't know that at this minute. We would have to take a look to see if we have $5,000 in an account that would have been budgeted for something else. So possibly, but we have to look carefully to make sure we could answer that for you.
I apologize, I could only parse about a third of that.
No worries.
But I'm happy, it sounded like there might be an opportunity for me to talk to some other folks. I'm always happy to do that, ask my way, I don't want to shut up. So I'm happy to sit down with whoever wants to have a conversation and dig deeper. Just from sort of a historical point of reference, the way that these things are measured is on what's called a running average, and it's usually 4 quarters averaged together. Your running average is 4.88, and the maximum contaminant level is 5. So effectively, if your third quarter, and I didn't look this week to see if we had a third quarter reading for you, because I don't know if we've taken it and reported it yet, but if it exceeds 4.9, you're going to be at violation status, which means you're going to have to not only post, but the state's going to really want an action plan from you. The truth is, I probably shouldn't tell you this as the sales guy, the state never rushes you to do anything as long as you let them know you're making progress, they're okay. I'm happy to work with you however this makes sense.
Thank you very much. If we have a public hearing, I feel pretty confident that we would invite you back. Any other questions for Michael before we let him go on the testing or the science side of it all?
And my email, I think, is on threads with most of the folks here, or anyone who wants it. Please grab it from Ivy or somebody else. I'm always happy to have an offline conversation if you want to delve deep into something. Really happy to have that talk. So don't be shy. My cell phone's always the best way to reach.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
All right, folks. Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, so as far as water testing is concerned, would the board like us to move forward with a public hearing, or would you like to discuss it at a later time?
I don't want to delay. I certainly don't want to delay it, but I do want to see if we can avoid touching the trust, if possible. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know how the other board members feel.
What is the cost of our current intermittent water solution?
I don't understand your question.
Oh, so in place of the bubblers right now, what we're doing with the water? Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Right now, we've just been installed, so it's like $6.99 for the 2 bubblers to rent per month. And then the bottles are a certain amount, and we don't know how many we don't know what the kitchen installed, insurance
the expectation is this is supposed to be able to provide water for cooking, water for all the students, drinks, so I imagine once we go back into school, that cost is going to go up pretty extensively, so.
I kind of like the idea of just doing, because you said that could last for 10 years.
I mean, for $5,000, we need to.
If we only did the 5,000 option, then how long would we then have to do the increase 18,000?
We're going to need to, as a board, discuss strategic planning moving forward in terms of, is this school building going to be expansion, and how do we do that? And I think any discussion about that should be discussed with the expansion of any sort of water system. So I think we're doing a long-term fix on that right now, to me, doesn't make sense. I think it should be part of, and I actually put it in my parking lot item when we're going to start talking about strategic planning moving forward, that we should absolutely be looking at the water system as part of the future planning as well. But I think we want to try and do something to get us up and running for school as quickly as we can after the schools open. So my thought is I will make a motion if we are able to find the funds, so it's a conditional motion, if we're able to find the funds to cover the 4,900. For the first portion of the request of invoice, that we do that, and if not, then we, as an alternative, then we can put it forward for notice from the trust.
I'm trying to have everybody here kind of look at all of the options, find out exactly how much we're looking at. I still think it's good, but it's not.
To Heather's point, if we did need to expand, is that money able to come from the building and maintenance trust for an expansion? The building.
So as far as whether to have a hearing or to share more information at your next meeting in September, if you, at either one, we can have more information for you. So we can have information as far as if, there funds exist for 5,000 in an account and where that would come from in the district budget. So we could give you a few options for that. And so that would be something that we would have available to you. So you could decide whether to use it out of the district budget or whether to expend from the trust. So you could do that at a hearing, or you could do that at the meeting. If we did that at the meeting, and it was not noticed as a public hearing, you could not expend out of the trust if it's not specifically a hearing for that purpose. But, if you wanted to wait on that and just ask us for information in the September meeting, that's something you could do. So we could bring the information to the September meeting, or we could have a hearing and you could decide either way.
Are we under any contract with Second Wind where we can't get a second opinion from someone else as far as like the work and how much it might cost us all?
I was saying we're not bound by Second Wind. The test results are the test results. Second Wind does not do the test results. They send them to a licensed analytical company. So the test results are not negotiable. Those are what they are and reported right away to the state. But Second Wind, there are other water companies like them that, yes, you could get another quote from, get them in, show them the results, and have them provide us with quotes on what their recommendations are to mitigate.
I just feel like that might show now that so my thought behind that was so that we could show the town that we're doing some due diligence in getting a second quote and not just taking the first one and saving us. And I think that would help us see, is this the best solution and is it the best price for the work? I know they're a reputable company. They do this for all the other schools, but I think that would go a little bit of a waste of town.
If we notice this as a public meeting, we still have the option to take it from funds if they are available, and we decide to do that as a board. Okay. So I think in light of that information, I'm going to strike my motion and then go ahead and notice it for next month. But I want us to make a decision next month, because I feel like even the month delay, I feel is compromising the students and the staff. So I want to try and not push this down the pipe anymore than is absolutely necessary. But I think having other quotes come back from the companies at that meeting as well will be helpful.
Yeah, I wouldn't really plan here sooner if we want,
So we could, yes, we could have a hearing at the beginning of the next meeting, or it could be a different night, but we usually notice them for the same night as your typical monthly meeting, and we could have all that information for you. So we could, barring if a second company responds back to us in time, we could have a second quote, and we could also have information about if funds exist in other accounts, if they're available in the district budget. So there's a motion. Strike the motion. Got it. Is there another motion?
I'll make a motion to hold a public hearing at the start of our September school board meeting to review potential additional quotes and make a decision.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions about water testing before we move on? Next item under superintendent report under this agenda is board committee proposal. There we go. So this is a proposal to appoint 2 members to serve on committees to support the board's work in key operational areas. So first, we're proposing to reinstate Academic Affairs Committee. So this is a policy review committee. So for Policy Review Committee, this would be due to the board's full membership with the New Hampshire School Boards Association. We now have access to the full policy database. So this resource helps to support our ongoing work to bring all Middleton School District policies into compliance with state and federal legislation. So we recommend reinstating a policy committee that would review and revise policies on a quarterly basis, prepare recommendations ahead of full board meetings, ensure compliance with applicable laws and best practices, and keep the full board policy process efficient and informed. So this is part of your policy process that already exists within your policies about how to review and adopt policies. So we would recommend meeting quarterly because 2 members of the board meeting as part of that committee could review along with the policy, and then it would, they can't approve policy on their own. They would vote to move to the full board. No committee can act on their own. It has to always be moved to the full board. So they would review along with some policies, move to the full board, and then it's required for the board in your policy to have a first read and a second read. So that's why it's quarterly. You'd have a meeting and then move to have it read first view, read by the board, and then the second meeting would be the second read and adoption. And then you have another Academic Affairs Committee meeting to review policy and so on and so on. So that is my first proposal. And I have a proposed motion in there if the board agrees with that proposal. And my second proposal is about the Finance Committee. So as you know, we were already appointed as Finance Committee members who also are liaisons to the Town Budget Committee. So the Finance Committee helps with budget preparation and reviews monthly finances, both of those things. So we would like to propose a meeting structure. So there's a place and a time for you to meet with Capio before meetings, particularly during the budget process. So really, essentially now through December. So we're saying, or proposing, this committee would meet in the fall to review and collaborate on the next fiscal year school budget, collaborate with administration to ensure priorities are reflected, and present a preliminary budget proposal to the full board in December. So of course you would report out to the full board every month. You don't want to work in isolation month after month. However, that's what we would be working toward. These committee meetings would be public. People from the public could attend these committee meetings, whether it's policy or finance. But this is what we envision, that before, and this may not work for your schedule, so you can, meet anytime. But we were thinking before this meeting, 2 board members could meet on policy, and 2 board members could meet on finance. And then when we start our meeting, we would have those as running agenda items and review with the committees, move to the full board. So we have proposed motions for both, and the board can certainly discuss. I'll just add that all committee meetings would be publicly noticed and conducted in accordance with RSA 91A. And as I said, committees will report regularly to the full board, and all decisions and adoptions will remain the responsibility of the full board. No committee can act on its own. So I'm happy to take any questions or if the board wants to entertain any motions.
I'll make a motion to reinstate the Academic Affairs Policy Committee and appoint Kelly Tillman and Samantha Martell to serve on the committee. Sorry, all in favor?
Any discussion on motion to approve the organizational plan for finance committee to review all in favor?
Fantastic, thank you very much. We will be in touch with all of the policy review materials and our meeting schedule. Okay, so next on the agenda is emergency policy authorization. So there are 3 sub-items under this agenda item, emergency policy authorization. First is request waiver of policy BGB. That's the policy adoption process where it requires first and second read that I discussed earlier. And then I have 2 policies under the waiver request. Policy AB, New Hampshire Parental Bill of Rights, and policy JICJ, unauthorized communication devices. These 2 policies reflect law that New Hampshire that were just signed into law by, I think, effective July 1st. And so both the School Boards Association and our legal consultants recommend that school boards adopt policy effective immediately to reflect those laws. So we have brought draft policies for you to review. But first would be a request to waive BGB as the first proposed motion so that you could then adopt 2 other policies here tonight. I provided 3 proposed motions at the back of that memo, and then after that, certainly I'm happy to explain those other 2 policies if the board would like to move forward with those adoptions.
So I will make a motion to waive the policy. I'll make a motion to waive the policy BGB, which requires 2 readings of the proposed policy due to the emergency need for compliance with newly enacted state laws.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
No, but, so even if we don't like these policies, we really have to
Technically, that is true. Technically, and this is what school districts and school boards are wrestling with across the state at this time, in that, you know, we as school employees have to follow the law regardless. The policies, approving the policies help the administrators, because, you know, it shows that, you know, that it's not just our rules that we have to follow the laws, it's that the school board also, you know, is acknowledging that these are laws and we have to follow state laws. There's a lot to the Parental Bill of Rights. It's 2.5 pages long, and I know that the unauthorized communication devices brings up a lot of questions as well. I'm happy to answer any questions, or you could make motions for discussion.
what we have is not out of alignment with what the law says. So that's why I say begrudgingly, I don't like the content, but it is in line with the legislation that was passed. It's not anything that is overreaching or beyond the scope of what I can see. I will make a motion to adopt the policy for unauthorized communication devices in compliance with your state legislation prohibiting student use of communication devices during the entire school day. All in favor? I do have a question or point. Are we letting anyone know who would fall into the exceptions? That if they don't have an IEP or fall under a plan, that they need to do that? We know she means business, yes. I just wanted to make sure that any child that is using their device for glucose monitoring or something else like that has the 504 plan, or their parents are notified, or their guardians are notified that they need to get that in place of a penalty violation.
We will send out after this meeting, soon after, to parents to explain these new policies.
Because we're very unenthusiastic.
Thank you. Yes, my last comment was that we will send out communication outlining these new policies and laws, what it means, what it doesn't mean, how we're responding to that. We'll have information in student handbooks and information, for parents. So thank you very much. Next on superintendent report agenda E, authorization to suspend. So this and the next authorization to sign assurances for grants, these are two assurances that an authorization that every board reviews every year at this time. So the authorization to suspend is we, the Middleton School Board, recognize Superintendent Dr. Caroline Garikelian and Assistant Superintendent Dr. Caitlin Hills as our representatives and authorize them to suspend students from school for up to 10 days in accordance with RSA 193:13-IB for the school year 2025-2026. The superintendent may designate this authority to the school principal. Furthermore, the superintendent and assistant superintendent are authorized following a hearing to continue the suspension of a pupil for a period in excess of 10 school days up to a total of 20 days. So if the board makes a motion to authorize the superintendent to suspend as presented, the full board would sign this document.
And 20 days is the max, right?
Yes. There would need to be a hearing. Right.
And there would always have to be.
Yes.
Okay. They couldn't do.
Parents can choose not to have one, but they have a right to that. They have a right to a hearing. So they have to.
Are there any questions? And should I make a motion?
The next item is authorization to sign assurances for grants. So we, the Middleton School Board, authorize Superintendent Dr. Caroline Eric-Killian, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Caitlin Hills, Business Administrator Kathy O'Glennis, and/or Director of Curriculum Daniel Harvey to sign the assurances for all grants and requests to and from trust funds according to board policy and all legal requirements for the school year 2025-2026. So the legal requirements would include a public hearing. So if you agree to that, the board would sign that document.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
I request each superintendent report and chairperson report that we take to the record.
Absolutely. We will move right along. Second to last item, food service costs. So every year at this time, we're required to review food service costs to stay in compliance. So I'll turn it over to Kathy O'Glennis regarding the update this year.
Thank you. Please don't shoot the messenger. Every year we do have to fill out a state, the state required Excel spreadsheet called the Price Lunch Equity Tool. It is part of the National School Lunch Program application. I have to fill it out, I have to submit it, and this is where I say we are behind in what we are charging for a full paid lunch. This year that we just finished up, the full pay students pay $3.25 for a lunch. Running the numbers through the Price Lunch Equity Tool, we are $1.13 behind from previous years, not raising the price enough. And I am proposing that we raise it 25 cents, so that would be $3.50 for this new fiscal year. It still means we're running behind, but at least we're in compliance. We've raised the prices, and we're going to continue to move through. So that is what I am proposing, and need the motion in a second to accept.
Does anyone have any questions?
What is us being that far under budget do?
It doesn't do anything at the moment. We're showing that we are raising and we're meeting the minimum requirement that is required. Minimum. No, it just shows that, and we have to submit this every year. If we don't submit it, or if we submit it incorrectly, it gets shot back, and our National School Lunch Program application does not get approved by the state or the federal government. So we are in compliance. We are raising the prices. We're running the tool and submitting it with our application. It just
Overage isn't something that we have to.
Well, I have to keep calculating that. It tells me to take that shortfall from the previous fiscal year, add it into this new Excel spreadsheet, and continue to keep going. But we're still in compliance. We're raising the price. And if you approve this, if you don't, then there is an issue, unfortunately. No, I don't have any more information than that. There really has not been any other information that I'm aware of to say at some point in time they're going to say you've got to do it all. That they understand that this is a difficult situation to have to raise prices for families.
And
For the full pay.
has the free or reduced lunch program funding gone away this year?
No,
That's still
no, this is still in existence. Yeah, nothing has changed.
about it.
There's been no change to this tool. It's still requiring the same information, the same, it's inflation. It's the cost of the rebate, or not the rebate, but the claims that we get back once, every month. The food service director has to submit the claims for the free, the reduced, and the full paid lunches, as well as breakfast. But this just capitalizes on the lunch. And we need to make sure that we are charging enough on a full pay lunch, because what we get back as a claim from the federal government is higher than what we're charging, which we're not here to make money, and neither is the government, so they want to make sure that we're not shortfalling price lunch expectations.
No, you've explained this to me before. You've explained this to me before, so forgive me. But, so, basically it means that we have more people getting free and reduced lunch than, no?
No,
Than previous, or no?
it has nothing to do. Believe it or not, it has nothing to do with how many students qualify. It has nothing to do with how many lunches we serve. It signifies what the federal government is giving us back in claims, so giving us revenue back on each paid lunch. So what they're giving us back is like $4.01, and we're charging $3.50. So they're saying, or we were charging $3.25. So that claim amount each year goes up. So the claim for the free, that goes up. I don't have it right in front of me, but because that's what not, this doesn't address that, and it doesn't need to, but it's the full paid lunch is what it needs to address. We need to make sure that we're charging enough to cover, obviously, our costs, but will cover what the federal government is giving us back per lunch that we're selling that full day. So we're upside down, in other words.
Right. Remind me where they come up with the $4.
It's a federal government standard. They do it.
I'll make a motion to increase the price of lunch from $3.25 to $3.50.
Okay, you got your second? Okay. All in favor? I'm going to abstain because I wasn't part of the conversation. Thank you. Last item on my superintendent report, we can continue. Financial reports. So, as always, Kathy has provided the financial reports, and I'll add that a new feature that Kathy is bringing is a financial summary. So you can see some observations, total budget year-to-date, encumbrances, remaining balance, percent remaining, and overall summary there. Just some highlights for discussion. But if you have any questions for Kathy, please let us know.
It's 1 month,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, so this is from June 30th to
July 1st.
July.
Was there a change in the disability insurance?
On page 3, it just says negative 238 for the percentage, so it looks like we didn't plan for that maybe? Under the office of superintendent in a second.
That's just an encumbrance in there, it hasn't been paid. It looks like the total amount was grouped into that line, and it shouldn't be, so I'll make a mark, and I'll go back to the office to see how that was encumbered. That shouldn't be encumbered all on one line, so it should be distributed throughout the budget, all the different functions.
I have a general question. Do we bill Medicaid for qualifying students for in-school services?
questions for us? Okay, thank you very much. That concludes the superintendent's report. I can speak to the chairperson's report. Don't want to get that from me. So our first agenda item under chairperson's report is the Middleton Education Association contract update and signing. So we're happy to share publicly, it's first meeting since the final vote, that the teacher's contract passed at the recount at the end of June. So we wanted to publicly acknowledge that, and I can say on behalf of the district, we're very pleased and happy for the teachers. We do have a copy of that, I believe, in your folder for the chair to sign. And we went through that with a fine-tooth comb, both sides, so that is clear when you're ready to sign that. And then next is budget committee update. We provided answers to questions in your packet for your information and for your discussion. And then we also provided some data. The board requested that we bring some staff data to this meeting, so we brought that as well. So I'll turn it over to the board if you'd like to discuss the budget committee questions and answers, and then also the staff analysis. Any questions?
I did cover the budget committee, I don't see that enough. For the budget committee, question one, I just wanted to know if we could put in when we would be able to expect to show the grant payments on the budget, so that there is kind of an idea of when those figures would start showing up. Because it was a question about them not being present, so I would understand that. Yeah. Also on number 9, the grants that we applied for, just as all entitlement grants applied and received, can we list out all of them? I think that would be helpful to see what we actually have. And then I would just rephrase number 10, it's just, this would be for future planning by the board. And thank you for putting this together now.
Do you know when we could, would it be October 1st, 2025, when we can expect to get the enrollment numbers for the school year? Just because they'll ask. Because these are for October 1st, 2024.
That's when you're required to.
Okay. So we can let them know, like, if they're in their October meeting, we'll have 2025 enrollment numbers? Yes. Okay.
We budgeted for the bus drivers and the support staff to get a pay rate this year. Did we do 3% last year, or the bus drivers still at the pay rate from a couple years ago?
No, they were increased 3%, so they're up to about $21.22.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? All right, and then next topic, it looks like is MES staff data. Okay. All right, so we can move into closing activities, advanced planning. Meeting dates and events. So August 25th, we have new staff orientation. Staff in service days are that week, the 26th through 28th. Sorry, we never had a break. August 28th, the middle school meet and greets and the high school jumpstart. As Principal Ivy said, August 28th, the First day for students, September 2nd. School board meeting, the next school board meeting will be September 10th. The middle school open house also that day, earlier that day. The open house is on the 18th for the high school, and then the Middleton Elementary School open house, 5:30 on September 25th.
Thank you very much. And then we will move into public input.
I asked some questions before.
Can you just state your name? I'm sorry.
Jim Deacon.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I asked some questions before you got here. To be honest, I don't really know which one that they wouldn't answer that they said they were waiting for you for, so I guess I'll just start from the beginning. First off, I'd like to know how much money, residual money, was left from last year's budget.
So that one, we had stated that we should have those numbers after September 1st.
Yeah. No ballpark, no. Okay. Which led me to say, I'm assuming there is some money left over. Then I brought up the point that I heard recently rumors of innuendo that there was some sort of propaganda video put out from you guys going home to a select group of taxpayers, and it was stated that the school was in a budget crisis, and basically, you know, the sky's going to fall down, the teachers are all going to leave if the budget didn't get voted in. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I didn't even get a confirmation if there was a video went home or anything, so I guess we could start there.
So we move into previous meeting minutes, and we just discuss.
The video that you're speaking of, was that back during the deliberative session and around that time period?
Well, it was before the election.
Yeah, I think it was back in February, correct? There was an informational meeting that was posted, was it, I don't even know where it was posted, on Facebook or on the one ago?
Yes, it's January.
And I think it was posted on the town, like the Middleton Facebook page, correct? So it wasn't sent out to anyone. There was a video that was posted to provide information. The town did come forward and said that they felt that it was a meeting, so we made a formal apology about that. But it was just to encourage involvement and to provide information. But it wasn't sent to necessarily specific. It was just posted on Facebook.
Did it say that the school was in a budget crisis?
I don't even remember what it stated.
Is it,
but yes, it was.
Is it available for viewing?
I believe it's still on the internet. But yes, there was conversations that people were concerned with the wording that was used for budget crisis, but we were concerned because with the budget that was proposed, there would be a significant shortage.
Well, the other question that I asked was how much you guys got paid. They don't want to answer that either, but I would submit to you that if the townspeople are paying you guys, somebody's watching the budget, and I understand, because it was explained to me at the meeting of candidates night how complex the school budget is, and the average person isn't smart enough to understand it, but that's what we're paying you guys to do. So I just know from working in other town budgets, that we usually keep a pretty close eye on it and know if we're going to run out of money, because they are in crisis. So I guess my next question would be the production of the video. Is that something that we, the townspeople, paid for?
No, it wasn't something that anyone paid for.
Okay, so who made the video?
So I think
think at this point we should move forward with the video. It's, in the past, it's been
Well,
discussed.
no, I want these answers, and I think as a taxpayer, I deserve it. I should be able to, I'll apologize for not trusting you at your word that it didn't cost us any money. But when it appears that you basically lied to people and said there was a crisis when there wasn't,
So I think that, I think that's
hope you
it.
understand why I would like an answer on, if you say it didn't cost any money, fine, then who made it? The other question I would have
So
is,
stop for a second. The school board had no involvement. We didn't, as a board, did not have any involvement in making the video.
really?
I had no involvement in making the video.
I was told that that video went home to a list of parents.
I think we need to move forward. We reserve 3 minutes for each person.
I haven't been through
but-
that, and I didn't get to finish asking my questions the first time I
So
spoke because you weren't here.
the video, as they stated before, was discussed previously in the previous meeting minutes. So we would encourage you to go there, and then we'll move to the next person. Is there anyone else with any public comment?
You don't want to tell me how much you get paid either?
So as stated previously, if you would like that information, you can email the SAU office and they'll provide it to you.
Right. So there's a line item on the budget for what the school board members are paid.
One more question. How is it that all the other, the zoning board, board of selectmen, there is transparency because it's out on every town Facebook page there is. And we've got a $5.5 million budget here, and we get nothing out there that's easily accessed to be able to view. And certainly no public comment on it.
So we share copies of the budget every month.
You put that on all the Facebook pages? Do you put your
We-
meetings out on Facebook pages?
We don't have a Facebook page for that, so it's here every month for anyone who wants to come to the meeting.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's on the website as well.
All right. I couldn't hear what you said.
She said the school board and the school and the town, that the school doesn't have a Facebook page.
No, all the other meetings, they get taped and I don't know, generally within a couple hours, it's out on the 2 or 3 town Facebook pages that I look at.
Yeah, I know the selectmen's office has been able to do that. We tape our meetings as well, and they're published on the website.
But you couldn't share that with whoever it is that's putting that other stuff out there?
If you don't have a Facebook account, you can't share it anywhere, and we don't have any Facebook accounts for the school.
Well, I would submit that
We
with
can't
a
share.
almost $6 million budget, you guys could probably afford a Facebook page.
I don't disagree that that is a venue, but we can't do that in our own court. That has to be done in partnership with the superintendent's office and the school. A select board is a board in and of itself. A school board works in conjunction and is a 3-tiered system. It is not the same as a town. You cannot compare it because it is apples and oranges. So we have a 3-tiered system where you have the principal in charge of the school, you have the superintendent who oversees us, and then you have the school board. Every arm of those 3 different things have different responsibilities and obligations. So it is not as easy as saying the select board is going to oversee this and the select board will do that. It's a very different, much more complex organizational structure that we're working within.
So do I need to ask the principal if she could put these meetings out on Facebook? Is that what you're saying?
That's a great public input saying you would like to have some Facebook presence for the school.
I'd
and
like
the
to
school
have
take that
some
into account.
transparency.
Again, I don't disagree with you, but everything is put on the website, and the town has desire to move us away from Facebook and only to the website. That's exactly what the school does. Everything's on the website, and we don't publish things on Facebook. So it's really a preference that you have to decide, and this board and then superintendent's office and principal have to decide how we want to move forward each of those three systems in terms of what the Facebook presence is or is not going to be.
Any other public comment?
Well, off of that, I haven't been on it for a while, but last time I went on the school website, it was very difficult for me to get around and find anything on there. I don't know if it's been improved or not, but I hope so. Beyond that, what is the cost of the reduced lunch? You mentioned full price, but what is the reduced?
40 cents.
And you said you don't have class numbers yet?
So everyone went under after October 1st.
So coming.
Okay. And is the teacher's contract, has that been added to the budget? In these budget numbers, has it been added? Okay, because we have a budget meeting Monday night, and they're gonna be asking, and I didn't think it was, I just wanted to make sure.
Just quickly, where did you say I could find that video?
On the school website.
What was it? It was on Facebook, was it on the Middleton?
It would have been the town page, it would have been the news discussion.
It's like the community Facebooks. I never actually saw the videos. I think it was on the Middleton, I don't know what it's called. Are you able to help me with that? I don't, okay. But it should still be there. Yeah, it's just back in January, February. Yeah. Any other public input? Okay, we will, do we have non-public tonight? Okay, so we will be going into non-public for personnel, discussion. Anything else you guys want to add before we go into non-public? I will take a motion to move into non-public. You're welcome. Motion to go into non-public? Oh, did you, oh, I didn't.
Rebecca, just so you know, if that video is out there, that video cannot be removed by anyone other than the person who posted it or one of the admins, which I am one of, which it has not been removed. So it is not that difficult for anyone to find it if that fact is still out there. And I know for a fact that it was not sent to anyone privately because it was a topic of contention. So just so that way, obviously there are other people in the room that aren't on our Facebook page, just so you guys are fully aware too. But if you ever want to know something, you can reach out to me since I'm an admin for the page and send it to whoever needs it.
I appreciate it. May I ask what your name is?
What's that?
May I ask what your name is?
Teresa Jones.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm sure that would throw one. I'm not really a fan here.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion to move into non-public. Sorry, I missed your thing.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Yeah. All in favor? Aye.
Push the button? Okay.